Hello, everyone, and good morning or afternoon, whenever it is you're watching this video. It is Miss McBride, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what you'll be doing today in reading. So, if you remember all the way from last week, we read a story, or the first half of a story. We previewed the prompt, which told us we're going to have to continue the story, and we talked about some good things that writers do and how we can make this continuation of the story the very best that it could possibly be. So, importantly, on Friday, you filled in a story map, or basically you made a plan for how you're going to finish the story. We already pretty much knew who our characters were and what our setting would be, but you had to come up with the problem and the solution. You filled in a map that looked like this. You're going to need that today. So you should be using that as a guide as you start writing. As well, I want you to keep in mind this story map plot. Okay, we talked about this very early in the beginning of last week, but this sort of map on the screen where there's an exposition, so that's the beginning where they're kind of giving you the setting, what's going on. That's already what's been given to us. So we've been given the setting with Sally and Mrs. Chipley, who are trying to go find Aunt Sarah's house so she can watch Sally. That's the setup. That's the exposition. What you're going to end up writing by the end of this is the rising action, the climax, so whatever that big problem, solution, conflict, whatever big turning point in the story there is, and then the falling action, resolution, the stuff that wraps up the story. So today, what I want you to do is focus on just getting that rising action, and maybe if you get to it, the climax started. Don't worry about finishing today. You're going to have time tomorrow to keep writing. But what I do want you to focus on is making sure that the writing you are doing is matching the writing from the first half of the story. We talked about this on Friday, but just a little recap. You should be using the same types of figurative language that they were using. You should include dialogue because the first half of the story included dialogue. You should use a lot of descriptive language because the first half of the story used a lot of descriptive language, which is why I'm having you practice that on Nearpod. But you need to make sure that your continuation of the story flows from the end of the first part of the story. It should mesh really well and seem like it's just one big story that one person wrote. So keeping that in mind, today what you're going to be doing is starting writing. You're going to pick up right where that story left off. So you're not going to jump in time. You need to make sure that if you stopped or started reading at the last sentence of the story they wrote and continued reading into yours, it flows smoothly. There's no jump. There's no confusion. It should pick up right where it left off. And right where it left off was with Sally expressing her concerns about going to Aunt Sarah's house. So they aren't there quite yet. So you shouldn't jump into your next sentence saying, at Aunt Sarah's house. Now you could say they arrived at Aunt Sarah's house, or you could say they continued walking down the street in the rain, and you get what I'm saying. As long as you description of how you got there, you can start writing as if you were at Aunt Sarah's house, but you can't just magically appear there. You have to explain that they got there or how they got there. So, for example, I came up with an example of a way you could continue the story. I do not want you to copy this, but today what I want you to get through is probably your problem, because that will get you through the setup, your rising action, and probably get you to your climax or just about there. So today you're going to write about your problem. Tomorrow you'll finish it up by writing about your solution or how it's solved, how it is concluded. That is it. If you need help, you can reach out to me or your teacher and we can help you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.